Justin never believed that a single moment could split a life into two parts, everything before it, and everything after. But somewhere above the Rocky Mountains, inside a commercial flight bound for Seattle, the cabin lights flickered as the aircraft dropped so suddenly that terrified gasps filled the air. Coffee splashed across trays, oxygen masks trembled inside their compartments, and for one endless second, every passenger was forced to confront how fragile tomorrow truly was. In that terrifying silence, the last person Justin expected reached across the armrest, gripped his trembling hand with surprising strength, and whispered words that shattered years of carefully hidden emotions. Those few quiet seconds changed two lives forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still changes lives, hope deserves another chance, and genuine love is worth waiting for, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and leave a quick comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Justin and Nathan had been best friends for almost 15 years. They met as awkward teenagers at a church volunteer event in Portland, Oregon, and somehow their friendship survived college, career changes, failed relationships, family disappointments, and countless moves across the United States. Friends joked that they were practically brothers because wherever one appeared, the other was never far behind. Justin was quiet, thoughtful, and cautious, always measuring every decision before taking a step. Nathan was warm, adventurous, and endlessly optimistic, the kind of person who could make strangers laugh while standing in line at a grocery store. Their differences balanced each other so naturally that neither questioned how deeply they depended on the friendship. Over the years, Justin convinced himself that some feelings simply had to remain buried. After losing both parents within a short period, he had built invisible walls around his heart. Loving someone meant risking another devastating goodbye, and he wasn't certain he could survive another loss. Whenever he noticed himself looking at Nathan just a little longer than normal or feeling unusually happy after an ordinary afternoon together, he quietly reminded himself that friendship was enough. Protecting what they already had seemed wiser than gambling everything on emotions that might never be returned. The trip to Seattle had been Nathan's idea. A non-profit organization they both supported had invited volunteers to a fundraising conference, and Nathan insisted they turn the weekend into a short adventure. They laughed through airport security, argued playfully about overpriced snacks, and teased each other over terrible travel playlists. Everything felt comfortably familiar until dark storm clouds swallowed the evening sky halfway through the flight. The turbulence began gently before becoming something far more frightening. The aircraft shook with alarming force, forcing conversations to stop. Flight attendants quickly secured themselves as the captain calmly explained they were flying through an unexpected storm system. Justin stared through the window at flashes of distant lightning hidden inside thick clouds, feeling an old fear rising from somewhere deep inside him. His breathing became uneven, and memories of losing his parents unexpectedly returned with overwhelming force. For the first time in years, he felt completely powerless. Without hesitation, Nathan reached across the space between them and held Justin's hand. It wasn't dramatic or hesitant. It felt instinctive, almost inevitable, as though his heart had made the decision long before his mind could catch up. Then, believing those moments might be their last together, Nathan quietly admitted he had loved Justin for years and had simply been too afraid that honesty would destroy the friendship they treasured most. There were no grand speeches, no expectations, only vulnerable truth carried through trembling breaths while the plane continued fighting through the storm. Something remarkable happened inside Justin during those endless minutes. The fear of losing everything suddenly became smaller than the regret of never living honestly. He realized he had spent years protecting himself from pain while also protecting himself from joy. Holding Nathan's hand, he finally understood that love had been quietly waiting beside him through birthdays, hospital visits, job interviews, lonely holidays, and ordinary Tuesday evenings. It had never demanded attention. It had simply remained faithful. Eventually the turbulence eased. The aircraft stabilized, and relieved applause filled the cabin. Some passengers laughed through tears while others embraced family members. Justin looked at Nathan with eyes full of gratitude instead of uncertainty. The conversation they continued after landing lasted until sunrise at a small waterfront cafe overlooking Puget Sound. For the first time, neither of them hid behind jokes or careful silence. They spoke honestly about fear, grief, faith, hope, and the years they had unknowingly spent protecting each other from the very happiness they both desired. The months that followed were not perfect. Building a relationship after so many years of friendship required patience, forgiveness, and countless honest conversations. There were awkward moments, lingering doubts, and habits they needed to unlearn. Yet every challenge reminded them why their foundation was so strong. Love had not appeared suddenly during one frightening flight, it had quietly grown through years of loyalty, compassion, and unwavering friendship. If this story has touched your heart so far, please support the video by liking it. Years later, Justin often reflected that the storm wasn't the moment that created their future. It simply stripped away every excuse that had kept two honest hearts apart. Life rarely guarantees calm skies, but it does offer unexpected opportunities to choose courage over fear. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't surviving the turbulence. It's discovering that the hand holding yours through the storm had been your safest place all along. And in a world that often feels uncertain, that kind of faithful love remains one of life's greatest blessings.